For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. Alfonso Ribeiro has got the people talking all over social media after saying he sacrificed his acting career in order to play Carlton Banks of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. As we all know, Ribeiro played the iconic character for 6 seasons back in the 90s, but has stated he feels the role ended his acting career because no one can see him as anything other than Carlton. While on the Closer Weekly podcast he would share, playing Carlton on The Fresh Prince became a sacrifice. I used to always say doing Carlton was the greatest and worst thing that has ever happened to me. It was one of the greatest roles that I ever was fortunate enough to play. But it was also the role that stopped me from acting again because people couldn't see me as anything else. The sacrifice was not having an acting career anymore. Well, fans have caught wind with Ribeiro's words. They tried to offer him some encouragement after hearing his heartbreaking perspective. When one user would suggest Tyler Perry to revamp his career, much like he did for Jeffrey Owens a few years back. Well, Ribeiro would actually respond to that message with a tweet of his own that read, "I don't need or ever want that man to do anything for me." As soon as the tweet was posted online, fans were shocked and confused at Ribeiro's refusal of Tyler Perry's role, making folks wonder if there's any animosity between the two. With one online user even writing, "This is giving something has happened and he can't stand him." Joining me is our very own Danielle Miller to discuss this topic further. Now, Danielle, a lot of layers. I want to start with the tweet first. So I'll read it again. The tweet said, "I don't need or ever want that man to do anything for me." What was your reaction when you first saw this tweet surface?
That man. When he said that man, like that was aimed at that man. Like, I want y'all to know that we don't have no relationship. It sounds like he doesn't care for him. I ain't gonna lie, it sounds like they have a wife. It sounds like there's something going on there that we may not be privy to, or he may have seen something that he doesn't like, or with him working with him, it's just something that he doesn't want to get caught up with. I don't know. But another thing that came to my mind immediately was Master P's comment on the DL Hughley show, DL Hughley talk show. I think that was like 3-4 years ago, about Master P and I got to hook up and him not embracing him. So that's another thing that came into my mind as well. I don't know these people personally. Nobody's perfect. We don't know what running these people is have when they behind the scenes. But Carlton, sorry, Alfonso definitely like brought that one to life.
Yeah, no, it definitely felt personal to me as well. And I think it's good to note as well that they have actually worked together in some fashion because he's directed, and by he, I mean Alfonso has directed. He has 12 directing credits on the former Tyler Perry sitcom Meet the Browns. So I know a lot of people was questioning like, hey, have they worked together before? Do they know each other? So I do think that's good to note. But when I saw the tweet, I definitely thought it was personal from just that man. It's like 2 words can make a lot of difference. But let me ask you too, though, because this isn't the first situation where we see people bring Tyler Perry up, whether it's on a big platform like this. I know myself coming to Atlanta, the first thing people say is, have you worked with Tyler Perry? Are you working with Tyler Perry? Why do you think Tyler Perry is inserted into conversations when it comes to, somebody's career taking off or going somewhere?
Let me first say I'm sorry because I said earlier, I said the name that he doesn't like because that sucks. And the fact that he doesn't like being called that name, but Alfonso, I apologize. I think the reason why people do it is Black people. We do it because he's a billionaire in the industry. I think once upon a time ago, people might have said Oprah, but now it's Tyler Perry because he's in the field. He's a billionaire. He has this big old studio, the first African-American man to do it. And then he's produced films that rake in a lot of money. So in a lot of people's mindset, it's sort of like, I don't mean to say it, if this comes off wrong, I apologize, but like a savior complex, like go to this person, sort of like maybe back in the 90s when people might have said, look for L.A. Reid, if you're talented, go find L.A. Reid. So now it's so you work with Tyler Perry, go try and work with Tyler Perry because we're under the perception that because he is so successful, that he's automatically gonna help your career to take off. But Tyler Perry is legit just one person, legit.
No, I think you made that very clear, and you made a lot of sense there. So no points I want to add to that. But what I do want to do, I want to take a look at Alfonso's clip from his interview where he talked about, as you mentioned, that name that he doesn't like to be called, which is the beloved Carlton that we all know. Let's take a look at this clip.
People run up to me saying, Carlton! And the name creates pain. Imagine you did something. People loved it. And they tell you that thing that you were so great at, you'll never be able to do it again. To act because you did that one so well that we can't see you as something else.
Pretty deep, Danielle. Let me get your thoughts. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think Carlton, the character Carlton, ruined Alfonso's acting career?
I can see that. Sometimes when you do a role so well, either two things happen in Hollywood. Well, three things. Either you thrive from it and you get more acting deals. Either people can't see you outside of that box. Like I remember an interview recently speaking about Zendaya and how she was able to get on that Disney persona. And another thing that I have to mention is now it makes me think about Jason Weaver. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Jason Weaver, who played Simba, and his mother making sure that he was able to get royalties from the Lion King because maybe she saw this coming. Maybe she saw the fact that him being recognized as Simba and this baby voice, even him playing in the American Dream, the Jackson 5 story. People, I used to call him Little Michael for years. So people began to identify him with that. And I think for her, it was like, okay, let me secure my son just in case he is not able to get any bigger roles from this. Let me make sure that he gets royalties. Maybe that was her thinking as well. And then, of course, what I say, two things. I say you could thrive from it. You can get lost into it. Or I can't remember what the third thing is. My mind just, I talk too much of a lot. My mind just gone. But yeah, yeah, that definitely happens. Yeah. Can we really take Tyler Perry seriously when he's playing in a different role? Like he did a movie. And I don't mean to say it like that, because we're on the topic of him and Alfonso and they're in one, on this show. I can't remember what the movie name that he acted in, but people were like, really? Really, Tyler? But then when you see him in Medea, it's like, oh, Tyler. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and we see this conversation all the time when it comes to being typecast. We've had conversations with Christopher B. Duncan, who played Braxton. He talked about what that was like. We also seen it with the character Urkel. Just different people being stuck into these roles that they just do so well. They did what they're supposed to do. They make you believe. They make the audience become a part of it. You feel like you're connected to it. That's what you're supposed to do as an actor. But it makes me wonder, who's to blame? And I want to take the actor out of it because the actor is doing his job by doing the role well. Who's to blame? Is it the audience, or do you think it's Hollywood and the studios and the casting directors? Who do you think's to blame when we see people like an Alfonso getting typecast and stuck to where they can't be seen outside of? And I'll even add in their PR, their team as well. Who do you think's to blame in this situation?
Okay, I remember my third point. It came back to me. Look at God. So my third point is, before I answer that question, is you yourself as the person may take on that role internally and believe you're actually that person. Like I can't remember, it was Sonny, I think it's from General Hospital or something. My Grammy used to love watching him. So everybody Grammy loved watching soap operas. And he spoke about how he started being abusive to his wife because that's what his character used to do. So he started to become that person and had to go through therapy and stuff. So that's another thing that can happen. So to your question, I think it's basically their team. That's why I said Tyler Perry is only one person. You have to have a team that is behind you, and that team has to make it make sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So literally, that's why I mentioned Jason Weaver. His mom saw that. Yeah, his mom saw that with him, and I think that was really, really smart on her behalf to do that because he's still making money from that today. And yeah, we can still recognize him as Lil Simba. Yeah, we can still recognize him as Lil Mike. But the thing is, he's still able to generate profits from those. I think the bitterness comes in when I still call you Carlton, and yes, the show is in syndication, but it's sort of like, are you seeing the greatest reward from being continuously called Carlton even in 2024? And it's not just monetary, it's also the fact that maybe I want to go off and do something more with my life. People can't take me seriously because of that role. But again, it goes back to your team. Again, to the Zendaya, her team worked to transform her image after she left Disney. So that's something that immediately team members have to start looking into, as in terms of this character is a great success. How do I move my client from this into bigger roles or other opportunities, or basically putting their personalities forward so people can get to know who Alfonso is, who Symphony is, and XYZ.
Absolutely. I know I couldn't agree with you more because even before we started talking here, we were having the conversation of like, can you think of a person that didn't get stuck in a role? So I'll pose that to our audience. Like, I would love to know if you could tell me, somebody from, that 80s, 90s era where, somebody just played a role so well and now we know them for a lot of other things. But yeah, I agree. And I think now in 2024, I think now is the opportunity to show what you can do. So I would, love to see Alfonso create a project of his own. What are the roles that you wanted to play? What are the roles that you want people to see you in instead of waiting for the Hollywood executives? We've seen time and time again, the Wayans brothers are famous for this. When they want something, they create it. So I would love to see Alfonso create the thing that we wanted to see, because in 2024, you don't really need the Hollywood executives anymore. Yes, your team is great, but now you have social media and all these different platforms to be able to release those things. So I would love to see that. I don't know. Go ahead.
That's my hand, everybody. It's great. Because I something just dawned on me. Like, I saw the tweet about Tyler Perry, but I haven't seen anybody asking him, like, what is Will doing? And I mean, Will was his co-star. For me, immediately, that's where my thought would go to, as opposed to a Tyler Perry. But again, that's just me, because they came from the same show, and Will, like, it's Big Willie. It's been Big Willie Summers from the 90s. And he's a big Hollywood name. So why not say, hey, what about Will helping you? Because they're the closest, but everybody just gone straight to Tyler Perry. That's very interesting. Maybe y'all can help me on the comments and understanding more why person did jump all the way to Tyler Perry. No offense to Will. I love Will. But to me, I would have been like, why not Will? Yeah.
Great question. Well, as always, Danielle, I appreciate you for chiming in on this topic. And again, I would love for people, let me know in the comments if you can think of a star that, did a role so well, but now you know them for so much more. Please let us know in the comments below. But as for this topic, again, thank you, Danielle, for joining me on this. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts of Alfonso Ribeiro rejecting Tyler Perry's help? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments.
We'll see y'all in the comments.
Wow, I didn't know that either. Enjoy this story? We got stories like this when you're a member at hypersclub.com. Being a member of the Hypers Club means you're the one to get the first access to these exclusive moments. The only way to see is to join the hype.